Bengals get a big win over the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about this coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
It's exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. Oh no! We flushed the boys down. The season's over. By Deshawn, by Brownies, Cincinnati Bengals have flushed down the Cleveland Browns on their way to victory yesterday, 21-14. Partner, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty damn good. It feels good. I thought, going into that game, I was like, man, let's just get this game over with. And then once that happened, I ain't gonna lie, I started remembering all the people that took all this amount of trash, like this absurd amount of trash from Cleveland to us. And I said, nah, I gotta cook a couple of them boys.
Nah, we had to. I mean, I almost obviously we're here to get into the game and everything like that, but it just was weird to me, bro. And it's weird today, going into that game. And I know you were on the AFC North panel too. There was a lot of talk the Browns have just really had our number lately, and it's not even true. That was the craziest part. So after the game, it's I don't know. I feel like we were all under some Cleveland spell where we really felt like Cleveland just been running us forever. And when you really look at it, the Bengals have won 3 of the last 4 matchups, so it hasn't even been anything
But Ace, those were against the backups. That game didn't count.
Yeah, bro, that was.
But how come? Look. When people say that, and if somebody does say that, I'm gonna say it again for you. The Bengals have won 3 out of the last 4 games against the Browns. People don't want you to say that because those people are living by we own the Bengals, so it makes them feel good. So when you say a factual statement like the Bengals won 3 out of the last 4, then they want context. But in any of those other games, when Joe Burrow came out there in his second ever NFL game and threw for 350, when he played them later in the season, he had 400 with the worst team ever and lit them up. Did anybody ever give us context for those games? When we put all
of this 2017 streak started in 2017, Joe Burrow didn't lace up a Bengals.
When he played. And how about the context of when we were going on our Super Bowl run, we did sit all of our starters on. They never went and told anybody that we had backups in that game. So I treat you got to understand what I do on social media. Whenever y'all see my reactions or me engaging with another team or something like that, it's all in response. And I'm just giving them the same energy that they gave me. If you don't say nothing to me, I'm chilling. I'm cool. I don't really got nothing to say. But if you talk trash and say we're poverty and I'm in the basement and we own y'all, then I'm going to be forced to give you factual information on the game. And they don't like that because then that's when they get into the personal attacks and all that other stuff like that. We're going to keep it ball. The Bengals have won 3 out of the last 4. You don't own anything. And this myth that the Bengals can't win anybody in the division after they won back-to-back division titles is crazy to me. Bengals had won 4 out of 5 games against the Ravens going into the 2023 season, 4 out of 5 games against the Pittsburgh Steelers going into the 2023 season. The 2023 season, Joe Burrow got hurt. Joe Burrow never even played the Steelers. So people can say whatever they want, but they always remove context when it comes to the Bengals, even our own fans. People told me before the game, Nick Chubb is he's going to rise up. Nick Chubb, he's Batman. Well, I'm Robin. Because I took your soul, ended your season. Joe Mixon got better numbers against the Browns than Nick Chubb does against the Bengals. But you won't get any Bengals fans telling y'all that because they're so busy sucking off Chubb every chance that they get. Chubb was out there this past week. How many yards did he get, partner?
Chubb Hub had about 2 yards per carry, I think.
Right. I had Bengals fans in my mention. I'm so scared Nicholas is back. Well, Nicholas got packed. He just came over injury.
I just Nicholas.
I don't care. I don't care.
The mighty Myles Garrett. Oh my God. Did he play yesterday?
Hey, hold on. Hey, look, I don't want that. Don't you do that. I can't do that to Myles
he's
Garrett.
On a whole other level. He's on a whole nother level other than Trey Hendrickson. He's on a whole nother stratosphere. Did you see that yesterday?
I know Trey. How about Trey Hendrickson yesterday? How about that?
Trey Hendrickson had dead wheels looking crazy out there.
How about my favorite stat right now for anybody that's telling you that Myles, and I agree, Myles Garrett is one of a kind.
He's a dog.
There are only 3 players in the last.
But is he that much better than Trey Hendrickson though?
As a defensive lineman, I think
as a
pass rusher, no. Trey Hendrickson is one of the best pass rushers. There are only 3 players with 60 sacks since 2020. TJ Watt has 66, Myles Garrett has 62, and Trey Hendrickson has 60. Now, mind you, these 2 have more than over 100 more pass rushing snaps and more snaps, period, than Trey Hendrickson in that time frame. So not only is Trey Hendrickson getting more sacks per game on average, but he's played way less snaps. Now, that's not to say that Trey Hendrickson is better than them, but I'm just saying as a pass rusher, he has the numbers and he has everything to check out. And like partner just said, I don't remember seeing Myles Garrett yesterday. All I saw was Trey Hendrickson.
Facts. So as you guys know today, we're going to definitely recap the Bengals and Browns game. We'll get into that. You guys know we talk about all phases. So we'll start with special teams, move to the defense, go to offense, talk coaching. And of course, you guys are here from our sponsors. As you guys know, this show is powered by the good folks at BETUS. But we're going to get into that Browns matchup coming up next.
Hey, what's up, Bengals fans? Mike Hilton. I'm on the Wincinnati pod with Ace and Zim.
All right, it's fitting that we start this one with special teams. It's never special teams. I feel like hasn't had as much excitement this season because it's kind of like the opener. But special teams was big in this one. You talk about the opening kickoff from Charlie Jones. He ends up cribbing it. I believe it was 100-yard. That was a 100-yard kick return by Charlie Jones. One of the things that I heard was that Drew Sample was actually back to block on that play. So
beautiful block. Him and Akeem Davis-Gaither, I think, were a part of that, but it was a beautiful block.
Beautiful block. He starts off the Charlie Jones pretty much quiets all the critics, me included. Like I used to be nervous when Charlie Jones was getting the ball back there. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm still nervous.
That fumble, that one game fumble like from the Patriots had me worried. So like I feel like people were reasonably, kind of worried, but I feel like that play there, like you said, some people are gonna still be worried, like you said, but that might have relaxed a few people there. And I think it was interesting because I think you said this and I saw it on the timeline. Like wasn't it something about like Burton was back returning punts or something before the game and stuff like that? And people were wondering, like, is there going to be some kind of change here? Charlie Jones helped his case with having that touchdown so that doesn't happen. But I thought that was interesting. But special teams, that kick was crazy. But we can't not talk about the missed field goal from McPherson at the end. Is this becoming a thing? But before we get into that, let me just hear your thoughts on the kick return. And then let's talk about, I don't even want to say Money Mac. I might have to knock on some wood. I don't know if we could call him Money Mac.
They're calling him food stamp Mac these days is what they're saying on Twitter. I'm not ready to go there with him yet, but I'm going to tell you, Charlie Jones, I get it. I appreciate I think that's dope that he got the touchdown. I think that went just like anybody else on the team. Y'all going to see one thing about me. I say super consistent. The same way I was saying Burton has done everything that it took in the preseason and whatever, he deserves the opportunity and whatever. If Charlie Jones gets out there and gets a touchdown on kick returns, 1,000%. I don't hold agendas. See, you got to watch these people on Twitter land. They hold their agendas and they let their ego be bigger than actually winning football games. Charlie Jones will return the kickoff. We're going to be smart enough to say, I think he could do it again. But that doesn't change my personal belief that he does make me nervous when he returns some of those kicks. Sometimes the ball placement in the hand and him not going down, like sometimes on kick return, you want to, if it's a convoy of people, just go down. And sometimes he has this habit of trying to fight through, and I'd be like, just go down, like, you know what I mean? But before the game, it was on punt returns, not kick returns. They had Burton doing a bunch of those before the game or whatever. So I just assumed that maybe they were going to give him a shot. They didn't. We even had video of it. They had Charlie Jones off to the wing of it, but the video wasn't like super clear, so I didn't post it. But he was fielding all of the punt returns like that I saw. Now maybe Charlie did some other ones or whatever. But shout out to him. I never said I thought Charlie Jones wasn't good or anything like that, so I ain't got to apologize for nothing. I just, rather Burton be out there on punt returns at least, right? But Charlie, I think now moving forward, he's got two. He's got the return from last year and the return this year. I think he's putting together a good return resume. So let's see what he can keep that up. Ball security is still very important to me. So make sure that you're still on point with that, Charlie Jones, and we good to go. The Evan McPherson conversation, honestly, I feel like ever since we were at that Steelers opener and Hubbard and not Itemaitis, but the dude Clark Harris, ever since then, the mechanics of the kicks just are not as smooth to me. And even the one yesterday, I did have a chance. I did watch the game on all 22, and I highlighted a couple plays online and stuff, but I didn't go watch that kick, and I'm so mad I didn't do it now. But to me, when I was watching it, it looked like it was low, but you got to get that up. Like if you're Rico, you got to – the hands guys at any level of football have to be able to get that up and get that football off the ground, even if it was low. I really don't think that it's McPherson, bro. I really feel like it's the mechanics of the whole, and I don't know if dude is nervous.
Are you saying that we gotta move Rico up out of there? Because like this is 2 weeks in a row, bro.
I would entertain somebody like I know it sounds crazy. I would entertain even Burrow, even Holder. I really would.
That's too crazy. I'm gonna tell you why. Kick Burrow in the hand or something, bro. Like,
yeah, that is kind of crazy. But I mean, what's the likelihood of him kicking his hand though? I don't know. All right, but
I don't. But Burrow, like you could put Browning back there, sure, yeah.
See, but this is the thing about it. I feel like they're going with Rico because they don't believe that Browning is like the guy, like he's got the stillness with it. I feel like Burrow would never mess up that. Like to just catch it and set it. I don't think he would ever.
Not doing that, bro.
I don't think that in the current NFL, nobody would do it. Yeah. But what I'm looking for is somebody that has balls of steel that when if the snap is high or it's low, I need somebody that's not going to give a damn and just put the ball where it needs to be. And right. I feel like that's why they probably went Rico instead of Browning. That's why my first inclination is like, I'm not thinking Burrow gonna get kicked in the hand, but I need somebody like that though. Like that's my point. And until they get that
quarterback, like it's crazy. That would be insane.
I just need somebody that
you could trust. I got you.
Yes, man. Like I feel like the snaps are a little. The one yesterday I thought it was high. The one in the Ravens game I thought it was low. So I don't know.
They need me or you back there holding it down.
I promise you, I'm not playing around with that snap, bro. Like I'm gonna have laser sharp focus. I'll be at Paycor. See these people, including Zach Taylor, whatever who we gonna get into. I don't know. I just watched this Tua press conference and he was like, "Man, I'm willing to die for it." I was like, "Oh, easy, big fella. Like you want to remember your family, you want to remember football and stuff like that." I ain't gonna say I'm willing to die for football. But I need people that's going to go out to that stadium and be catching the damn ball and getting snaps after hours when the lights is off and they got their own. They calling up Mike and say, "Hey, can you cut on a couple of these damn, it's still out there." We need guys that want to win at that level. And that sounds crazy, but everything that you got to do in life, to me, the people that are the most successful are willing to do what everybody else isn't willing to do. So It tells me that Rico might be working a lot on his punts. But I don't know if he's working enough on the holes because I don't feel like they're sharp. And McPherson, he should be out there and say, you know what, forget everything that happened before, or whatever. I'm going to stay after or whatever. I think part of his attitude what makes him dope, though, is kind of like that carefree. So maybe he won't be as aggressive as I'm saying, but something's not right there, and they got to fix that.
I think you got a point because I think anybody could practice a regular hold that's like ideal, like a perfect snap, right, and hold. But like, what about practicing the unorthodox, like botched ones? You know what I mean? Like Steph Curry, like we kind of talk offline about like basketball training and stuff like that. And I was never like a huge Steph Curry fan. I wasn't a Steph Curry hater, but like one of the things that made me respect him is that he does everything about him sets up his shot. So he even compensates for like a bad pass, right? Like he moves into where the pass is going to get a shot. If the pass is too low, he still grabs it and starts his shooting motion like way from the bottom. Like those are things that you have to practice, even if it's Rico. Like on a serious note, like bro, practice the botch snap because that's going to happen in the game. Every snap isn't going to be perfect. Every hold isn't going to be perfect. Those are things, and I'm not saying, I mean, obviously they're in the NFL, but as a word of advice, if somebody is watching this, like, bro, just practice like the botch snaps and stuff like that because everything won't be ideal when it comes to that. So, yeah, that was luckily it didn't cost the Bengals in this one, but it kind of was like a moment where I was sitting there like, man, we still dealing with this right now. Like, it's kind of like how people felt about Zach Taylor last week, that the Bengals won in spite of Zach and some of the decision making. Like, yeah, they didn't bite them right then and there, but in the future it could. I feel like the same could be applied to that kind of situation. But
I think right now too, the argument. Think about it. I'm not trying to live off of 2021, but I'm living off of the information that I learned in that season. Special teams was a major catalyst to why we made a run, and this team has a lot of those that makeup outside of the field goals not being as, remember early in the season, the Green Bay game, there was some hiccups from Evan McPherson early in that season. But if you think about that team, they get into the playoffs at 10-7. People, I think only Bengals fans thought that they would go like that. I don't think a lot of people didn't think that we would beat the Raiders in that game. But special teams was a major function of it, especially go to the Titans game and all the in the Chiefs and all this stuff like that. At every point, Zach Taylor constantly put him in those spots, and he relied on him to do that. And much like the Curry stuff that you were talking about, I think that they should not purposely get McPherson these layup shots, but let him see the ball go through on a couple of 40-yarders. And then let's drop the 50 before we just drop a 50. Now it's we're trying to score 7, so we got an opportunity to score 7. Let's go get 7. But I think that you could maybe in a game like that, maybe you say, hey, bro, we don't need to take a chance here. We're at the 30 or whatever. You could throw whoever's open. If we don't get it, we're comfortable with 3 right here. And that's how the conversation will go. And if you get 7, like the T. Higgins catches and breaks the tackle and he's gone, then you get 7. But if he gets tackled and whatever, then I think McPherson, the snap, the hold, they all need to see it work in a game. And because what'll happen is, I'm gonna tell you, it's a game over there in Baltimore. 2-3 weeks from now, you're gonna need to hit a field goal in that game. Y'all gonna remember I said that on this show.
You're gonna need. Think about the last time we played Baltimore, field goals were a factor.
Yes, sir. I mean, you could lose games from special teams. I'm glad. How about that? We're starting out the Wincinnati show. We just dedicated a good 18 minutes to special teams, and it's very important. It's very damn important, and it gets lost in the sauce.
And speaking of special teams, shout out to our sponsors, BETUS. We're launching a new promotion exclusively for the followers of the Wincinnati podcast channel. Forget the old promo of 125%. They're now offering 150% on your first deposit, 125% on the next 2. All you have to do is use that promo code YouTube150. Once again, that promo code is YouTube150. Make sure that you hit them up right now. We got Monday Night Football going on. If you wanted to put in a live bet, you can make sure that you do that. I put it in a couple last night, made some pretty good money. We also made some money off of our Wincy Play of the Week. Make sure you stay tuned for that. We usually do that on Wednesdays, but the Bengals covered the points and did what they needed to do there in terms of the Browns game. But let's go ahead and move on to defense. We talked about special teams. Defensively, we kind of talked about it. Trey Hendrickson completely dominated in this game. 2 sacks. You talk about the linebackers. We've talked about them. I heard a lot of talk, and I always hear a lot of talk in the division about JOK, not much about Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt. Both of those dudes balled out in this game. I thought that they did a great job against 3 different quarterbacks, not just facing one, but 2. Every single quarterback that was on the Browns roster, even Jameis Winston, they ended up being able to face. And I respect and commend them for how they were able to handle it. Deshaun Watson was able to do some things earlier in the game, but once the defense really locked in, they were able to keep them from scoring when it really mattered, right? Like they did allow like a garbage time touchdown and stuff like that. I'm not going to hold that against them. This pass rush, just Trey Hendrickson, outside of just him, a lot of the other guys coming back helped create a good performance out there for the defense. I didn't really feel like, the defense was ever really threatened by the Browns at all during this game. What were your thoughts on the defense? How did you feel about the game plan and how they responded to the different quarterbacks?
Shout out to Baker Mayfield. If you're watching this live, we got live chat right here. If you on Twitter or something, get on over to YouTube, Wincinnati. Go check us out. We got live coverage right here. Buccaneers and Ravens right here live. We got the Mike Evans. I saw the 4th and 1. They must have threw that on 4th and 1. So I've been kind of monitoring the game. Baker Mayfield. But let's get back to what we're talking about too. I thought the defense did everything that they were supposed to. The last garbage time touchdown, I'm mad at it, but to almost like the Derrick Henry touchdown in overtime in the Ravens game, I kind of feel like that's a little bit after the fact. Like in maybe it's not an absolute and it's not a fact, but it's the way I'm viewing it. I thought the whole entire game, the Browns had 14 possessions. In the 14 possessions, they averaged 4.4 yards a play. Bengals 4.2, which was horrible. But they had a total yards of 336, 259 passing. They got a lot of that on the last drive. Deshaun Watson actually had a pretty good completion percentage when he was in the game. He had a couple drives where I thought he was driving. But for the most part, the Bengals front is now playing really good up front. Nobody's running on them for 3 weeks straight. You saw that against Derrick Henry in that game for 4 quarters, up into the big one in the overtime. You go in the Giants game, do the same thing. And now the Browns with Nick Chubb. I know he's coming back off an injury, but they do their thing. You saw Geno Stone get the interception late. Shout out to Sam Hubbard. He gets the interception. Shout out to Myles Murphy. 3-point stand, goes back there and checks Njoku on a route too and puts the seatbelt on him. So you had guys making plays. You had Mike Hilton making plays. You had guys Cantilla Britt had a big hit that people are not talking about on here. I'm going to clip that, and I need to post that. He flipped the dude towards the end of the game. I thought that was a big hit, and that's how I know Cam Taylor-Britt is a hitter. There's a lot of different players on this team that made plays, but Trey Hendrickson is the guy. When it's time to get it, you got one of them guys. If you can get the production that you're getting from Sheldon Rankins on the interior of this defensive line, for the last 3 weeks, the Bengals are ranking in the top 5 as far as pressures in the NFL as well, too. According to PFF, and I've seen another stat, too, their pressure rate is up at the top of the league as well, too. If Sheldon Rankins is getting that type of pressure, then look out. Trey Hendrickson is going to get so many one-on-ones. You got a matchup coming up this upcoming week that we'll get into later in the week on Wednesday, where they don't have their starting left tackle as well. Trey Hendrickson is coming around that corner. And I thought the defense, for what they're paid, what I expect from them, what they have, there is no Myles Garrett, there is no Denzel Ward, there is no TJ Watt, there is none of that, but we got our guys. And when they play together as a unit, they look really good. Shout out, somebody said BJ Hill. Shout out to BJ Hill. Them guys staying fresh. Sam Hubbard, I learned he's now got a broken finger. He's playing with that. You had Chris Jenkins making some good stuff. McKinley Jackson had some good pressure. This line, I hate to say, if they would have played week 1, I think we win. A lot of these games, I think that they probably win. And it sucks. And a lot of people counted them out and said this defensive line is going to be trash without DJ Reader. They look a lot better. I don't think you could ever replace a DJ Reader, but as of right now, they look a lot better. I'm not mad at them giving up 14. I essentially look at it like it was 6-7 points really throughout the 14 possessions to get the garbage time touchdown. Because remember, Geno gets the interception. We're up 21-6 with 4 minutes left, and we get the ball back. And our offense does nothing with it and gives it right back to him, but whatever.
And shout out Geno Stone. He beat the allegations this week for sure. And prayers up to him. Gladly he was able to avoid a major injury. I believe it's just a shin injury. So he's, I believe, week to week or something like that. So he might even end up playing.
day to day.
Yeah, he might even end up playing this weekend. So shout out to him getting that interception. I know he said on Twitter he was mad that it's taking this long for him to get the first interception. I think that's the dope attitude of him to have. But before we move on, obviously we got Monday Night Football going on as we record this with ramifications for the Bengals. So we are going to shift towards the offense and coaching right after this commercial break from our sponsor, Manscaped. All right, guys, it's the best time of the year. Football's back. We're talking Sundays, college football Saturdays, and glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. This is where your inner GM comes alive, setting the perfect fantasy roster, screaming at your TV, and making last-minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy that everyone ridicules in the group chat. But listen, while you're over there making sure your fantasy team is dialed in, don't let your personal grooming become the guy that gets you left on the bench. Let's be honest. Nobody wants to fumble their grooming routine, and that's where Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp down there below the Lawnmower 5.0 to taking care of those rogue ear and nose hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0, this is the lineup that'll keep you looking like a champ on and off the field. Join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by heading to manscaped.com using the code WINCY for 20% off and free shipping. Trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP this season. All-in-one grooming kit are certain things that come with it. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the complete grooming playbook. It handles anything from below-the-waist maintenance to taking care of those nose and ear hairs. Consider it your winning lineup, helping you feel clean, confident, and ready to dominate your fantasy league. So make sure you guys check us out over at Manscaped. Use the promo code WINCY, WINCY, at checkout. That helps out me and Zim and helps out the podcast. So we appreciate you guys there. Let's flip sides to the Bengals offense. And once again, this show is sponsored by BETUS. Make sure that you're dialed in with them. Make sure that you're pulling up your bets over there with them. They've got some really good live bets available right now as the Ravens and Bucks game is actually going right now. Make sure you take full advantage of that over on BETUS. You can make sure that you use their mobile app or you can use their website. But let's shift gears to the offense, bro. Bengals came out in this one, started off a little slow. Not even started off a little slow. They did start slow. Really didn't give up or put anything on the board until the second half. Soon as the second half comes out, it was like they were on fire. You talk about Jamar Chase doing the Iverson step over on that boy. That was nasty. And you just went to basically what your core, your offense is, the foundation. And this is why we kind of talked about why it's so important to keep T. Higgins with Jamar Chase, because that's exactly what they did. Once they started to struggle, they ended up going to their core offense, which is Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Those are the guys that deliver on the touchdowns. They were able to get some things in the run game going. However, it wasn't the most efficient running offense that we've seen. I know that Zach Moss, I've been tough on him. I don't think he had a great day on the ground from a rushing standpoint. However, he did have a key third down grab in order to push forward for first downs. And I think Chase Brown, you saw him get some key runs here and there. But outside of those two guys, you really didn't hear much from the offense. I think Joe bounced back in the second half and had a pretty solid day. Still played mistake-free football. And I thought that the offensive line did a great job of neutralizing Myles Garrett. Yes, the Browns were still able to get 3 sacks. However, Myles Garrett wasn't a factor. And I kind of talked about that. You know, the history of this has been that they have kind of not really keyed in on Myles Garrett. And I felt like this was one where they did that. I thought Amarius Mims stepped up. I thought also with Orlando Brown Jr. going out of the game, I really got to give kudos to Cody Ford for really stepping up and stepping in, because that could have been a disaster once he stepped in and Myles Garrett could have just went crazy. But he also played a factor in, you know, helping Myles Garrett not be a factor in that game. So for me, I thought the offense could obviously do better, but I was glad to see them bounce back in the second half. What were your thoughts about the Bengals offense?
If you guys haven't had a chance, go listen to I see my guy Mon in the comment section. I listened to their recap. They do the post game right after the game, and Jake and Mon, I think a lot of what they're saying, I don't want to say the same things that they said, but a lot of the things that they were saying, if you guys get a chance, go check that out because it's a really good recap show. But the offense just wasn't good enough to me throughout the whole entire game. And that's not to say I'm not happy with a win. You saw me in Ace. We start off the show. We're fired up. I'm like good teams figure out a way to win. I will start off and say I think that the offensive line was the catalyst to finally like kind of getting over that hump. Even though we did beat Watson before that first time when he first came back. Remember, Jamar Chase cooked them by himself with 120 yards. No Tyler Boyd, no T. Higgins. We'll say that for another day. But I thought the offensive line was the biggest difference. For once, he didn't have Jonah Williams going up against Myles Garrett. And I honestly feel like that was the whole game. I really do. I thought early in the game, Joe Burrow looked a little bit happy-footed, not the normal Joe that we want. And once he got it together, it was after a while, I think he kind of settled in and said, okay, I could do this. Oh, okay, I could do that. And I think he was surprised at how much time he had. It's unfortunate that Orlando went down, but I'm going to tell you, man, that's the only thing that scares me about this team is that the depth behind it, just like any other NFL team, and that's what sucks so bad about the Trent Brown injury. They were in a position that Amaris would have probably took the spot and then, whatever. And then you could have used Trent Brown in the heavy. We probably be talking about the Bengals as one of the best offensive lines maybe in football. But because of that injury to him in Kirkland, you get a chance to see, like, man, it really puts you one arm behind your back. And the margin of victory of winning and losing is so small. And thank God for Amarius Mims now. But everybody, we can't afford to have any of those guys go down. To me, that is our season relies on that right there. Them guys have to be available. And I think that this game showed it. And I thought that when they did want to run the football, I thought their short game stuff was terrible, like it's been. So the argument against why Mixon wouldn't make a difference, it kind of is it's a little bit of validity to it. I go with give me more talent in every instance. So is Mixon better than Zach Moss? Yes. Is Zach Moss a better pass protector? Okay, I'll give you that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't care if it was Mixon. I don't care if it was Kamara. The short game, the logistics of how it's set up and how they need to go get 3rd and 1s and they can't get it is awful. Like they're awful in short game. Their short game is just awful. And that's the part that is frustrating to me. And because of it, you don't see them moving the chains where they could. And a lot of the times, everybody like myself, I'm not happy with Zach Taylor, but it's because the team doesn't get into a rhythm. And you need to move the chains to get that rhythm going so that you're setting up plays. They're calling plays that don't have success, and now you're behind in the chains, and now you don't get a chance to go to the next play off of that. Like, so you don't get a rhythm off of it, so you never really get to explore that. And then when you do get a drive, then you kind of see the rhythm. Oh, that's what it's supposed to look like when we hit T. Higgins on it. You know what I mean? Like, so they got to figure out a lot of these things. We talked about the special teams, the offense. It wasn't good enough to beat the Philadelphia Eagles next week. It was good enough to beat a bad Browns team. And that's the honest truth. It doesn't mean that I'm not happy about the win, but that's the truth. If you play like that against the Eagles, they're going to make you pay. I can't hear you. I don't know if you're still on mute. I think you are.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the offense could have definitely played a lot better. And I mean, to see that 2 weeks in a row is definitely concerning. So we got to hope that, next week doesn't start off with a bunch of punts and that the offense isn't just throwing up back shoulder passes to Jamar Chase and catching T. Higgins on a crosser and hoping that they break tackles and get into the end zone. So that's definitely got to improve. I completely agree with you. Let's take a break and talk coaching right after we hear from our friends at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. It's the AC to the Zim, M to the B's. Uno wings, Jeep on wings, and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for Q&A wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for Q&A wings. Say what up to Jordan Battle. We be going to battle. Intercepting balls like CTB did on Seattle. Putting 6 up on AZ. Juice gang amazing. Make sure you come get these wings, cause Zimby stay blazing. And T-Game be smooth as ice. Jamal making DBs fold. TB got big levels, and now you already know. Hits are pretty for Uno wings. Cam got the new wings. We call them CTBs. Only at MBs. Nation to the Zim. M into the B's.
Shout out Midwest Best Barbecue. Visit them at 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. All types of wings, barbecue, brisket, even ice cream. And during the winters, they also have the brisket chili. So make sure you check them out. 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Let's get into the coaching, bro. What were your thoughts on the coaching? I felt like Zach struggled when it came to, his feel for the game again.
Yeah.
The play calling. I think on defense it was good. I don't think Lou really struggled in that area. But Zach Taylor, man, it got ugly for Zach. I don't know about your TL, but on my TL, it was getting ugly for Zach again this past weekend. Some of the stuff is head scratching. Some of them you're like, all right, are we going to, maneuver through this? He ends up, getting the win. But, how did you feel about some of the decision making and play calling on either side of the ball? If I didn't feel like Lou, did anything bad, but you might feel differently.
The one thing that pissed me off more than anything was Joe Burrow checking out of that 3rd and 8 and checking to a run, which has nothing to do with Zach Taylor. I hated that.
No, it does. It's his play. It's his play.
But I'm paying you $55, bro. Like I don't care. A lot of people say, well, Cody Ford was out there. I don't care. Like, line it up. Let 9 go do that thing that you do. Like, I'm not asking for much. I'm asking for you to go take their heart out, bro. And like, I really did not like that play a lot. Like, I'm very critical on Joe Burrow, like a lot, because I feel like he's that special, and I feel like we don't challenge him enough, or I feel like Zach Taylor doesn't challenge him enough. And I think that, man, I don't know. Sometimes I watch the games, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know if he's the guy that could get us a ring. I really don't. Just to be honest, I'm gonna get straight to it. I just don't know if that's the guy.
Zach Taylor?
About Zach, yeah, not Joe Burrow. Because no, Joe Burrow 1,000% could get you 5 rings. But the coaching, when you go watch some of these other coaches and stuff like that, I don't know if he has like the command that you need to have with like a horse like that. Like, Joe is a different horse. Like, he's a maniac. Like, and people get so blinded and so jaded by like the coolness of Joe Burrow. He is a psychopath. Like, if y'all think I'm crazy, he's crazier. He just won't show the world like that. I'm smart enough. Like, if I go, y'all see me at a suite, you think I'm gonna go in there and act like a fool? Like, you know what I mean? Like, at a game, I'm gonna be like, hey, how's you that? Shake my hand, hey, I'm Zim. You know what I mean? But inside my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, Buccaneers touchdown. Okay, we're running, we're looking good. Buccaneers up 2 tutties on the Ravens early in this game. We're looking good, but I think a flag was on the play. That's the last time I'm gonna do that, I promise. But I do worry about that sometimes. I just think that getting no points off the turnovers, the play call and the feel for it, it's the same thing. It's hard to put your finger right on what it is, but to me, the bigger issue to me is the rhythm. And it's not his playbook. It's just the rhythm. And when your team doesn't get in a good rhythm, it's just hard. It's hard to do anything in that. And part of that is coaching, putting the best guys in the best position to be great. So giving me an excuse about Burton not being out there is not an excuse. That's an indictment on your coaching. You should be good enough to figure out ways to get your best players out on the field in the best spot to go and do something. If anybody's saying, well, the staff just doesn't trust them, whatever, that is a stupid backwards way of looking at coaching. Because in all of those instances that you could say that, then you would have to couple that with, well, Zach Taylor has gone and won a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. To if you're going to sell me on that, like, yeah, we need to do it his way. currently you still have to show me that you can win a Super Bowl. And if you're not winning a Super Bowl, then you should be turning over every stone, everything that you can on this team to make sure that you're giving your team the best opportunity to win the games, whether that's Burden, whether in this game, I thought Gesicki and the tight end utilization wasn't what I wanted it to be. I thought that the Browns were susceptible to get passes from tight ends, and you don't want to test them on the boundaries or whatever. And I thought that they messed that opportunity up. And there was a lot of different things that I just don't think they exploited. And I just think the run game, the short game isn't where it needs to be. Chase Brown is super talented, but I really just don't know what they're doing with the short game stuff. And it gets them in some bad spots. So they're always behind the chains. And that's part of them not being in a rhythm. When they are in a rhythm, like in the Ravens game and everything's hitting, you see his playbook cooks. But it's his job to get everybody into a rhythm. And if that's getting T. Higgins and Jamar Chase more targets, then so be it. Maybe that's calling something for Yoshi. Yoshi was missing the whole game. His only opportunity was the one against Denzel Ward, which I still think he should get. I don't care if it's Denzel Ward. But putting those guys in opportunities to go make these plays, I'm confident Burrow can get them the ball. Just like Curry, we talked about the Curry 3. Give Burrow some layups and give him some layups. Where the screens early in the game? Where's the orbit screens? Where the quick end arounds? Y'all want to see Charlie Jones out on the field and not in a wide receiver? Give him the end arounds, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not interested in Jamar Chase getting end arounds and running in 250-pound, 280-pound men. Like, he got 11 yards on it, but your season could. I'm not interested in that. Get at the Burton, get at the Yoshi, get at the Charlie, give it to one of them dudes. Y'all just watch Brandon Ayuk just in his season is over. I'm not interested in seeing Jamar Chase run up against them type of dudes because you're trying to figure out a way to give him the ball. Give him the ball out in space. Wide receiver screen or something and let him make a play with it or something like that on the boundaries. I don't want to see him running. And if that's your best way to get him yards or get the ball in his hands, then you're failing to me. And I feel a lot of times he fails them and he fails to challenge them. He fails to get them in good spots. And I don't know, man. I'm very worried about him as a coach. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I feel like a broken record up here saying that, it should be somebody else calling the plays. I mean, at the end of the day, he's going to do what he needs to do. Hopefully it gets better. It's hard to kind of justify it, though, because you had the 3 games of the 30-plus points, and now you have the 2 games. And, I mean, honestly, I think that's just what the issue has been, the inconsistency of the offense, the way it's looked, especially with these players, and the concern that outside of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, it doesn't seem like you can create anything for anybody. I know a lot of people have talked about Eric All. I've yet to see them create anything for him out of this offense. Couple super chats here. Diddy says Myles Garrett found out that Jonah Williams was not there. I don't know. People told me I was a Jonah hater. I don't know. I don't know, bro. It's not adding up to me. P. Crawley said, was that Burrow's first back shoulder of the year? Was that his first back shoulder zone?
That's a great question, man. I'm upset that I don't know the answer to that.
Chat, let us know. We got to use the power of the chat. We got 848 people watching right now, so we appreciate you. If you are watching, make sure that you follow, like, subscribe, whatever you can do. We appreciate that. If you're on the YouTube video right now, do us a favor and hit it with a like. That allows a lot of Bengals people to find our content. So we appreciate y'all for doing that. Appreciate y'all for holding us down. But yeah, bro, I agree with you. I think Zach is definitely a concern as a coach. We'll see how it goes going forward. Once again, man, this show is brought to you by BETUS. Shout out to them for sponsoring the show. We appreciate them for rocking with us this season. Before we get out of here, Zim, was there anything that you wanted to say?
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks for sure. So Zim talked earlier about the touchdown. It did get called back. It was turned into a field goal. So Bucks are currently, as we're recording this up, 10-0. Obviously, that's big ramifications for the AFC North because Bengals right now at 3-4. If the Ravens lose this one, I believe they dropped to 4-3. So that's why this game is so important for the Bengals. But Zim, I think you were gonna say something, bro.
I was gonna say, one thing I think everybody should do, like regardless of how this game goes, I urge all Bengals fans to watch other games. Watch the Bucs and Ravens game, and then it helps manage your expectations. And this is just a therapy thing that I do for my own psyche. Sometimes I watch our team, I say, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And then sometimes I watch them, I'll be like, oh, we need to do that. We need to do that. I would urge y'all to watch that game because just from a play calling standpoint, or say somebody doesn't run really well tonight or something like that, it kind of makes you see like, okay, well, it's not just us. So I would urge everybody to come check this game out, though. It's starting off like a really good damn game. I will say that. So check that out. Also, please make sure you support us. The powers that be, the people online that want to blackball us for whatever reason and don't like us for reasons we'll never know. The people that only engage with us only to be negative and never want to say anything positive about us or engage with us in our own community is nuts. And them people need to be checked for real, honestly. But we're going to leave them nameless. We're going to depend on the people like we always have to go and make sure that y'all show us love and make sure you forward to everybody. We are in this thing to try to win games or help our fan base collectively come together and win these games and different things like that. So anything other than that, I'm not interested in. If Charlie Jones has a good game, if Zach Moss comes out to have a good game, we'll be the first ones to commend them on that. I don't know if them other people will do the same, but we can only do what we can do, right? So on our end, I just want everything to be better as far as the community goes, but it starts by helping each other out. And if you have a show, send it to me. Let me see it. If you want me to come on a show, let me know. Let Ace know. I'm gonna just sign Ace up for all the shows. But whatever you got, like we've always been trying to get out there and just give people like some chances to get their voices heard and stuff like that too. I can't promise you I will go and everything, but I'm gonna try to do what I can. And as a result, please show us love and make sure you forward this to somebody.
For sure. And also, just dropped some new merch on the site. Big Steppers stepping right over them Cleveland Browners. Make sure you check that out. It's the Jamar Chase stepping over the Cleveland Browns. Also, make sure that you guys head to ZimHude.com. Make sure that you get some of that Slim Shiesty and some of the merch that he has over there. That also helps support us. So we appreciate y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Wincinnati podcast.